Generations Wolverine, all new Wolverine. Huh. So let's just be honest. Marvel Generation sucks. They completely botched the reveal. They completely botched the correction to the reveal. Everything that they've released under this title has been garbage. Generations Hulk was garbage. Generations Jean Grey was garbage. And spoiler alert, Generations Wolverine is garbage. Now you might be thinking, well, Pirate, if most of Marvel's series are garbage and all of Marvel's generations are garbage, why the hell did you pick up Wolverine? Because I'm an idiot. Because I assumed there is no way that Marvel can botch an issue with Logan and X23. Like, all you gotta do is just have them fighting people for the whole issue, and there you go. You have a good issue. Like, how can you botch this? But they did. And you know what is the most surprising? Is the fact that the writer for this series is actually really good. Or at least, like, the stuff that I've read with him is really good. Tom Taylor is the guy who wrote the issue. He's the same guy that wrote Injustice. Same guy who's writing Injustice 2, which is amazing. Like, if I've put out 2 videos on Injustice, and even the video that I was talking about the issue that was kind of eh, it was a good eh. I mean, it was just a lot of dialogue, not that much action, but the dialogue was good. Like, the issue itself was okay. But yeah, he did Injustice, God Among Us, Injustice, God Among Us Year 2, Year 3, Injustice 2, Justice League, and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers crossover, which is unbelievably awesome for what it's trying to pull off. Maybe it's because my expectations were super low, but I was not expecting a Power Rangers meets Justice League to be as good as it is. Like, it's actually surprisingly well done. So I kind of figured, hey, this has got to be pretty decent, right? You got Wolverine, you got X23, and you got a good writer in Tom Taylor. This has got to be like a diamond in the rough for Marvel. But nope, it's bad. So we start off with Logan fighting ninjas, zombie ninjas, and he is, I don't want to say getting his butt kicked, but he's not doing well. I mean, he literally says, I'm the best there is at what I do, but it's not enough. I'm about to die. And I'm just thinking, okay, I'm coming back into comics after being away for a long time. But I was a huge Wolverine fan, so I have some knowledge on this character. Wolverine was born in 1880 in Canada. This issue takes place in 1980 something. And I'm basing that off the fact that, spoiler, Akiko was in this. And Wolverine found Akiko in the early 80s. So Wolverine has been around for at least about 100 years at this point. And a lot of that time has been spent fighting, when he's fought in multiple wars and all that stuff. And yet he's getting his ass kicked by zombie ninjas. Really? Wolverine cannot take on a bunch of zombie ninjas. God dang it. So yeah, he's getting taken down by ninjas. So yeah, just in case anyone was kind of confused, I said Akiko earlier, and this issue says Akiko. They're the same person. I guess Akiko is just like a nickname or something, which is kind of weird because it's the same exact spelling. You're just changing one of the K's into an M. But yeah, Akiko and Akiko are the same person. So yeah, Wolverine's talking about how he adopted her, and she's been kidnapped and is waiting for him. And he's not going to be able to make it to her because the zombie ninjas are going to kill him. I still can't believe I'm saying that. Wolverine's going to be killed by zombie ninjas. Way to wussify your character. I mean, ninjas are basically cannon fodder in comic books. Unless it's a single ninja. If it's just one character who's a ninja, then that character is usually badass. But once you get a bunch of ninjas, then they usually become cannon fodder. So yeah, Logan is about to die to zombie ninjas when all of a sudden X23 shows up. And here's the thing with Marvel. They are constantly praising the heck out of their modern heroes. And I put modern in quotes. But like all their diversity characters, all their female characters, basically all the new heroes that have taken the mantle of the classic heroes are just constantly being... I'm not going to use that word because... let's try to keep this a little more kid-friendly, I guess. But they're constantly being praised and told how great they are and stuff. And this issue's no different. She moves like nothing I've ever seen before. Hacking undead ninjas into little ninja bits isn't supposed to be so graceful. They can't touch her. She's not as strong as me, but she's faster, sharper. She's composed, doesn't waste a cut. She's surgical. It's actually kind of scary. So, X23's got to be like in her early 20s in this. She has not fought as long as Wolverine. She hasn't even come close to fighting as long as Wolverine has. Wolverine has been alive for 100 years at this point in this story. Most of that has been spent fighting. And you're telling me that she's better than Logan? And the only thing that Logan has on her is that he's stronger. She's faster. She doesn't waste a cut. She's surgical. She's composed. It's actually kind of scary. Logan is scared of X23. Oh, man. So they defeat the zombie ninjas. Okay, here's the thing. I feel like they completely botched the dialogue in the fact that they gave the dialogue to the wrong characters. Because, okay, they fight all... They kill all the zombie ninjas. And X23 says, they're done. And then it's Wolverine that goes, you have a sword in you? I noticed. Would you mind? Sure. This is not Wolverine. This is not Logan. Well, Logan's not going to act like that. I'm sure Logan has been impaled so many times. He's not going to be like, oh my god, you have a sword in you. And then X23 just like calmly like, yeah, I noticed. Can you take it out? Here's another thing. Judging by the end of this issue, it gives the impression that in X23's timeline, Logan is dead. That's the impression that you get. So why does she act like she just doesn't care about the fact that, hey, your father figure is alive? You don't say hi, you don't show any kind of emotion. I mean, if my dad was dead and then I somehow was transported into the past where he was still alive, I would be like breaking down into tears because I would be so happy. But no, X23, total blank face. In fact, she actually kind of acts a little standoffish to Logan throughout the whole issue. And you could say like, oh, well, she's putting up a strong front. Except she even kind of belittles him at times. And even if she's trying to put up a strong front, you would think you would get some panels where like Logan isn't looking at her and you would see like some kind of emotions on her face. Like you'll see like she's like happy, she's like tearful, but she's trying to like hide that because she doesn't want to give Logan any clues that she's from the future, so she doesn't like disrupt the timeline. You would think. Even though, I mean, you came back into the past and you saved Logan's life, so obviously the timeline has already been disrupted. Whatever, I'm kind of rambling now. So yeah, she takes a sword, throws it off camera, and then we see that she actually stabbed the bandana of a zombie ninja. And Logan's like, you missed. And X23 is like, I hit exactly what I was aiming for. Like, this whole issue is just basically Logan getting punked left and right by X23. Like, I feel like the roles are just completely reversed. Like, Wolverine comes across as the inexperienced fighter, while X23 is like this super cool character. So they get led to an abandoned warehouse because, you know, that's the hideout for all villains. Abandoned warehouses. And they go inside and they find that it's actually like an armory filled with explosives and ammo and stuff. And then they look up and they see the ninja that they were tracking and he's holding a grenade. And X23 points that out. And Wolverine says, he wouldn't. We're surrounded by explosives. And X23 has to correct him. And zombie ninjas are well known for their self-preservation and sensible decisions. So now you're not only making Logan weaker as a fighter, but now you're making him less intelligent. So the zombie ninja throws a grenade, it blows up. Logan like throws himself on top of Laura to, I guess, protect her from the blast. His clothes are like completely burned. He's bald, like it burned, like singed everything, pretty much. Some dude arrives. Laura, of course, is the one that takes him down and basically asks, you know, where's Akiko? And the guy spills his guts and basically says, she's at an airport. The reason why I'm telling you is because we were paid well to take the girl, but we were paid for a simple kidnapping. We weren't paid for this. So I'll give you a ride to the airport. So I guess this is a very nice kidnapper. Because not only is he willing to give them a ride to the airport, but he's also willing to give them new clothes. And then we get this other stupid panel. You know, there was a dress in the car. That's Logan. And then Laura responds with, yeah, you would have looked great in it And the matching heels would have really accentuated your calves. Get it? Because, just because she's a woman doesn't mean she needs to wear a dress. I don't even know why Logan would even ask that. These two pieces of dialogue right here are just, they didn't need to be in this. Like, I feel like maybe it was an attempt at humor, but it just comes across really stupid. And really, I know I don't want to say SJW because I feel like that word is kind of thrown around a lot, but that's what it kind of feels like. Hey, you're a woman. Why aren't you wearing a dress? Why aren't you wearing a dress? Like, come on, man. You're better than this, Tom. I mean, you did such an amazing job so far with Injustice 2. Like, I am loving all the characters, especially Plastic Man, but even Batgirl. Batgirl is coming across really, really well in Injustice 2. Like, she is like the cool character that I was hoping she would be in Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. And then you did Justice League and Power Rangers, and you made that cool. So why? I almost feel like this has got to be Marvel, because when Tom Taylor is writing DC stuff, he's doing a phenomenal job. And there's none of this like gender politics, SJW, let's make the females more cooler than the males. None of this stuff is happening. Like, everyone is cool in their own right. Yet as soon as he comes over and he does something for Marvel, he becomes like just another SJW writer. So it's got to be Marvel that's behind all this. So they're going through the airport and they catch a glimpse of Akiko being taken on the plane. So they like smash through the windows, run across the runway, jump onto the front wheel of the plane. Basically, that's how they get inside. So we have this really weird like moment where Laura and Logan are sensing that there's 9 people on the plane, and I think they're doing it through sense of smell. Like, it doesn't necessarily say, except for this one little panel where it just says, and the 5 people directly above us smell like death. So he's able to smell how many people are in the plane. I don't know. It just comes across really weird. All right, here's something I thought was completely stupid. Why would the Hand still be helping? Wouldn't they have been called off? How would they do that? Ninjas don't carry cell phones? Carry what? Never mind. This takes place in the 80s. I mentioned that earlier. Logan finds Akiko in the 80s. In the early, mid-80s. There were cell phones out back then. I mean, they were like the size of bricks, but there are cell phones. So, they could have easily have called. But doing that would have basically ended the issue right then and there. But yeah, I thought that was stupid. So they pull a Looney Tunes. They saw underneath the ninjas. And the funny thing is the ninjas notice, because if you look at the panel, you can see them staring at the floor. Like, all of them are staring exactly at the claws that are poking out the floor. And they don't jump out of the way or do anything. They just stupidly stare at the claws until the panel drops, and then they get stabbed. So then the special ninjas climb up, and they discover Sabretooth holding Akiko. And this was another facepalm moment. So Laura charges up at Sabretooth, swipes at him once, and slices his hand off. Okay, here's the thing. If you look at all the previous panels, Sabretooth is holding Akiko with his left arm. The arm that Laura slices is his left arm. She is somehow able to slice off Sabretooth's left hand without injuring Akiko in any way. I have no idea how that got pulled off. But yeah, she then tackles Sabretooth out of the plane and just stabs the hell out of him as they're falling. And I mean, the whole time as they're falling, Sabretooth is basically just screaming in pain, and Laura is just like giving a war cry as she stabs the hell out of him. And I'm just thinking, this is Sabretooth. Like, if there's anything I remember the fact that Sabretooth is supposed to be like a nightmare to Logan. Like, I remember Logan is terrified of Sabretooth, because Sabretooth like constantly hunts him down, beats the hell out of him until he's almost dead, disappears, and then just does it all over again. So Logan's like in a constant state of fear of Sabretooth. And here we got Laura calmly walks up to him, slashes his arm off, throws him out of plane, stabs the heck out of him until they crash to the floor. It's one thing to make your female characters or your diverse characters or your modern characters strong. It's another thing to have them just completely one up all your classic heroes. It's just, oh my god. Okay, so they crash to the floor. Logan tells the pilot to turn the plane around and take it slow. And in a matter of minutes, the plane is able to do a 180 and get low to the ground, low enough for Logan to jump off and stab Sabretooth in the chest. Now I'll say, okay, this part right here was badass. So you think, oh, okay, so Logan gets a cool moment in and he's going to finish off Sabretooth, right? Well, you're wrong, my friend, because Laura, who crashed to the floor and has broken bones, she's the one that gets up. She gets up before Logan does. Despite the fact that Logan didn't crash to the floor, he stabbed Sabretooth. Like he stabbed Sabretooth and then he did a flip. And the way the panel looks like, it looks like he's either going to land on his back or on his feet. And yet, in the very next panel we see of Logan, he's on his belly. So continuity there, but I mean that kind of nitpicking. But I'm just pointing that out because of the fact that Logan either landed on his back or on his feet. The way that the flip looked like he was going to land on his feet. And yet Laura is the one that gets up first. And Logan's just watching on his belly as Laura approaches Sabretooth. I can hear her bones popping, ligaments snapping. She's completely broken and she's still coming. So Logan watches as Laura approaches Sabretooth and stabs him in the neck with her toe blade. So she kills him. Laura kills Sabretooth, not Logan. And Laura basically two-shots him, if you want to. Well, I guess you can say she three-shots him if you want to be somewhat technical, because she was stabbing him on the way down to the floor. But she basically sliced off his arm, threw him off a plane as she stabbed him, and then approached him and stabbed him in the neck. Meanwhile, Logan doesn't do anything except for one surprise attack. That's the only thing that Logan does to Sabretooth is a surprise attack. And even then, it seems like that surprise attack almost did more damage to Logan than it did to Sabretooth. Because Logan's the one laying on the floor while Sabretooth is on his knees after the attack. So then we have Logan saying goodbye to Akiko. Basically saying how trouble follows me wherever I go. And if I'm in your life, then trouble's only going to be around you. And then Laura basically browbeats Logan and calls him out on being a deadbeat dad. And tells Logan that, you prefer spending your time fighting zombie ninjas than you do spending time with your daughter. Like, you prefer pulling shurikens out of your body than you do reading a bedtime story. Logan realizes that Laura is his daughter, or at least he's under the impression Laura is his daughter, because he says, it's been a long time since I've seen my mother's eyes. And here's the thing. If I remember this correctly, at this point in time, Logan is suffering from amnesia, right? I mean, it's been like I said, it's been a decade since I've read any kind of Wolverine comic. But from what I remember, at this point in time, Logan has amnesia. So how the heck would he remember what his mother's eyes look like? And then he apologizes to her for being a deadbeat dad, says a final goodbye, and then the final panel is him reading to Akiko. And I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be sweet, but it doesn't come across well. Like, the whole issue is basically Laura one-upping Logan, just constantly one-upping him. She's the one that comes across as smart. She's the one that comes across as cool. She's the one that takes out the zombie ninja. She's the one that kills Sabretooth. And then in the end, she kind of browbeats him on being a deadbeat dad. And then she says, oh, I'm going to miss you. And then she disappears. Like, if I was Logan, I would just be glad that she was gone. It's like, Jesus Christ, lady. But yeah, that's the end. That's Generations Wolverine. Man. Can Marvel do anything right? I mean, why do I have to wade through a bunch of garbage just to find a few diamonds in the roughs? I just think this whole thing is dumb. Laura completely one-ups Logan in every way in this issue. Despite the fact that she shouldn't. Logan has way more experience. Logan is stronger. Logan has more experience with his abilities. But whatever. I'm done with this. Is there any good Marvel comics out there? Please, recommend me something, because I don't want to come across like I'm just completely bashing on Marvel, because they do have some good things. Like I said, Astonishing X-Men, which I will be trying to do an issue number 2 review soon. Astonishing X-Men is amazing so far. Cable is a good, popcorn comic. Is there anything else? Anything else that Marvel is doing right? Because the problem with Marvel is that they're pumping out so much garbage that the things that they are doing right just gets buried under a pile of garbage. I know Gwenpool, I like Gwenpool, but I haven't caught up on that yet. That's probably something I should try to do. Though I was kind of put off with the whole milkshake fiasco. But yeah, I mean, please, if there are any good Marvel series out there, let me know. And if it's a long running series, let me know a good jumping on point. Because if there's if you recommend me an issue and it's 100 issues in, there's no way I'm going to be able to read all the 100 issues. I mean, just trying to find all 100 issues is already going to be a pain. But if you guys can recommend me any good series, And if it's something that's like, 10 plus issues, 20 plus issues, recommend me like a good starting on point where I won't be completely lost. I would really appreciate that, because I don't want to just be completely ragging on Marvel, but it's gotten to the point where outside of maybe one or two series, I got to focus on just DC and Independence, because Marvel is doing nothing but bringing me down. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.